Mrs. Muchă, it is a pleasure to see you in Armenia. Because of your work and contribution, Armenia has participated in the International Festival of MIDEM in Kann this year. Can you tell us a little bit about the impressions that you had from the Armenian participation as a country of honor in MIDEM?
Well, I think the impression Armenia left behind this year at MIDEM was enormous, was fantastic, and everybody with whom I'm speaking to is absolutely surprised, impressed, and has made a huge discovery about Armenia to detect what is Armenia. Of course one knows Armenia and the entire world knows Armenia, but not in all the details, of course, and many things can be researched and can be discovered really, and this was, I think, the really big strength also of this presentation of Armenia, and there was a huge range really, so it was really Armenia in all its different facets of the culture. So not only music, despite the fact that MIDEM is, well, leading a music trade show, yes. So this is really the focus. But I think it was very good that Armenia showcased really all its different capabilities and abilities.
Mm-hmm. In terms of the program, the music program itself, that was represented throughout the days of the MIDEM Festival, what was it that was a discovery for you, or that was something very interesting that you could share?
Well, I think one highlight was following the next one really, and it started already, and this was also the feedback I've got, and also the other persons from MIDEM. It started with like a big firework already with the opening cocktail, and many said to us they haven't had at MIDEM, they haven't lived at MIDEM for many years, such a fantastic opening night. Mm-hmm. It was of course beautiful with the setup of the weather, and so that for the first time ever in the history 49 years of history of MIDEM, that we had MIDEM taking place beginning of June, so in summer, which of course enabled us with so many new things really, so that we could use the beaches, and so it was fantastic, it was really phenomenal. So we had, of course, in the very traditional Carlton Hotel, we had the opening cocktail, then we could use also the beach of the Carlton Hotel, and then we got the special permission from the city of Kann to close the Croisette, so this beautiful like Champs-Élysées of Kann, the big boulevard on the length of the Carlton Hotel, and this was wonderful. So it started, you will remember this, you witnessed it as well. It started with a beautiful dancers ensemble in traditional Armenian costumes and doing traditional Armenian dances. Then we had the two stages, one stage inside the Carlton Hotel, more dedicated for jazz music, and the other stage outside on the beach, more going into ethno, into rock pop, and then ending up really in a big session with DJ Beatman, which was fantastic, and it was a party as we haven't seen it for quite a while. And I think one can say the beach was not only full, it was packed, it was really crowded, and everybody was dancing and was hanging out, meeting people. It was an absolutely unique atmosphere.
And the closing ceremony when the two concerts also played by the youth and the orchestra.
Yes.
Did you attend the?
Yes, of course I attended every concert. So in between we had other concerts, of course. We had the Seithofer Chamber Choir doing this wonderful concert in the Église Protestante, so in a Protestant church in Kann, and singing many songs from Komitas, but also from other composers, including also Penderecki. So Penderecki, he has written a special piece for the Armenian genocide, which was just world premiered a couple of weeks prior to MIDEM in Carnegie Hall in New York. And then actually the performance at MIDEM in Cannes was the European premiere, which was wonderful, and the performance was highly acclaimed, and the choir is phenomenal. The voices you have here in Armenia are just very exceptional, with a very special color also. So this made it really very interesting. And then of course we had the Armenian State Jazz Big Band, which was fantastic. And there again the concert hall was packed, and people are very enthusiastic. And everything ended then with this big symphonic concert with the State Youth Orchestra of Armenia, with Nvard Chalikyan and Sergei Symbatyan, who conducted it, again under the presence, with the presence of the President of Armenia, which was of course a big honor for everyone. And I think it was a very round program, and so each music taste was represented, which was very good, and it showed the huge variety also of the country.
Right. Armenia has been present in MIDEM with a big delegation headed by the President of the Republic of Armenia, and many contacts have been established during these days. What do you think can be the best follow-up of all the input that has been done from Armenia in MIDEM, and what further steps would you advise us to take?
Well, I think it was really very good that this high delegation of Armenia was headed really by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Armenia, and he was joined by the Minister of Culture, Mrs. Hasmik Pogosyan. There were other Armenian celebrities, artists. Charles Aznavour came, Alain Terzian came, Robert Guédiguian, Rosie Armen, and so many others came. And I think the various persons of the delegation had the opportunity in meeting different people. So the President, for example, had several individual meetings also with top representatives of the international, of the worldwide music business. And this was of course very interesting, and the President had very clear questions and ideas, which was very good and very important, and the same also the Minister of Culture. And I think that out of these individual meetings which took place at MIDEM, there will be some business coming out on different levels, and probably in a different time frame, and with different activities as well.
Right, we have read in the news about the conversation of the Armenian President with the President of the Jazz Montreux Festival.
Yes, Mathieu Jaton, yes.
Yes, is something going to develop from that? What do you think? Or?
Well, I shouldn't reveal everything already. Right. There always has to be a secret, and I would say, yes, this project is in good ways. It's under development. But you can't make such a project from one day to the other, so it needs negotiations, it needs approval from different sides. It's a very complex and a very big project, but yes, I think something can be done or will be done, and there's a very big reciprocal interest really from both sides, so from the Armenian government, from the presidential office, as well as from Montreux Jazz Festival, and doing something together. And so this will be one of the several steps to be undertaken. There will be perhaps a German high-ranking delegation coming also to Armenia and doing some kind of consultation work
for music.
For music, always around music and the core business, as well as also, let's say, including the music ecosystem, because as you know, MIDEM is all about the music ecosystem, not about the core business, which means publishers, labels, and distribution. But in the past years or decade, on a global scale, technology was added, brands were added, and so many other fields, which are just crucial and very important for the music business.
As I know, this is not the first time that you have come across the Armenian music. You have actually been working for many years in Armenia, and you're quite familiar with the music business and the music field here. So I would like you to share your experience, what you have seen in Armenia in terms of music, talent, business, and infrastructure. Whatever would be interesting for others who would like to pursue the path that you have taken, to hear from you.
Well, number one, it's always great and fantastic coming to Armenia, and by now I can't count any longer how often I've been here already. But every time I'm coming here, I feel very much at home, and I know many people, which I like very much, and I know some of the music scene. I know some other artists from different fields, like painters, etc. I think what is very important, or might be very important for Armenia, will be in the future to take this platform of MIDEM, Armenia had this year, and was already the second time that Armenia participated, because there was a first step last year with a smaller stand, but just to get acquainted. And then this year, well, there was this huge presence with Country of Honor. Of course, that's something extremely exceptional and can't be repeated every year or every 10 years. I think what is very important is that the few infrastructures Armenia has get the chance via the platform of MIDEM to develop. Because I think it was very important also for Armenia to see where does the country stand within the global music industry, for example, the worldwide music industry. And this is, I think, always very important to see how many record labels do we have? Do we have a publishing house? What are they releasing, for example? Is it mainly classical music here, or is it jazz, or is it rock pop music? And of course, Armenia has certain, is stronger in certain music styles, and in others less strong. So also this is quite interesting to see then how could a balance be found, or how can the different music styles which are already very strong, how can they be strengthened, and how can a music style like rock pop, which is not so strong on an international, on a global scale, despite the fact that, for example, Armenia always had been very strong and powerful in the Eurovision Song Contest, for example. But the export factor in this area is certainly less strong than, for example, jazz music, which has a huge tradition, and classical music like symphonic music, chamber music, choir music, what I said earlier. And so therefore, for example, Ethno, of course, yes, because you have different groups covering this. We're talking from Katuner to Mikhail Vaskanyan and many others. So of course it will be also a logical step then, for example, Montreux Jazz Festival, to do some activities here. But talking about the structure of the music business in Armenia, of course, I think there has to be a real structure to be found. And starts from copyright, it goes over the live business. You have live concerts, big live concerts in the stadium and in other places. But to see what is going on, what can be done, in which direction can the country also move on. And so therefore I guess that the presence of Armenia next year at MIDEM will be absolutely crucial, and as preparation doing an internal research really. I think this is very important to see what do we have, how many people are working actually in the field of music, no matter whether it's an artist or whether it's related to business. And these are very interesting figures which are coming out also for the government, or can come out. And then it can become a political factor, because one has to know that all these people working in the music the field, at the end of the day, they are also the voters of the politicians. So it's, I think it can interact quite a bit.
Right. So there are some factors that are missing in the Armenian music business, of course, but the key factors that are there can interest someone from
abroad,
representatives of the international music business.
Yes, absolutely, because Armenia is then just one country more on the globe. And it's a new market, and everybody is very much interested into new markets, and perhaps from Armenia one can develop also other countries. So it's always some kind of interaction, and as much as Armenia needs also the contacts to non-Armenian countries, no matter whether they are from east or west or from whatever direction, and has to do promotion for example, in our talks we detected, found out that Komitas, who's he's very important for the Armenian music, for the Armenian composition style, but outside of Armenia he is not everywhere as much known as perhaps he should be known. Despite that, there was also his some celebrations that you have now since I think a year or so, or half a year. The new Komitas museum, which is fantastic, really, and you have a lot of documents. But I think this is, for example, one of the fields something could be done more and can be developed. On the other side, and there, for example, you could get also help from outside. Or, I don't want to say help, support. That's much better. And very important, so that then from this support you can move on an international scale, like finding an international publishing house, finding an international record company. This is a possibility. The other possibility could be also that a company from outside might be interested to invest into setting up a company in Armenia, or creating a joint venture, which might be even more interesting, because then it brings also something back into the country. It shouldn't be a one way. It should be. It should be absolutely an exchange.
The platform is here for
yes.
making such connections.
Yes, absolutely.
It is.
And so therefore, these are all, let's say, tools which can be used to develop a new business or a new industry here, or setting up an artist management company to, on one side, to bring, for example, foreign artists here to Armenia, and on the other side, promoting Armenian artists, which are fantastic, outside of Armenia.
Yes. In recent years, there have been a lot of famous people, famous musicians and singers coming to Armenia, giving concerts. Like
Absolutely.
And the audience is there.
And it's very receptive. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but so equally, it's really important. It's wonderful if international stars are coming here, and it's very important also. But I think it's also a duty, let's say, of the country to support the young artists, the young talents. What you're doing also now already a little bit throughout the international Khachaturian competition, which I attended also this year, and where again talents from around the world presented themselves. There was an excellent young the violinist from Armenia, and she got the third prize also, which was very good because she is only 16 years old. So this, of course, for her is very important, and now she has to see how can she build up the career, what can be done, how can she be supported, for example, also by the government. Can the ministry or a foundation look for an excellent instrument, because this is so important, for example. A pianist, that's easier to find a good piano, and anyway he can't carry the piano with himself. But like for example for cello competition, or when it's for cello or for violin, there you really need an excellent instrument, and a young artist can't afford such an instrument. So there are international foundations, for example, giving these instruments, because there we're talking about a value of $1 million or even more. Right. But to develop the sound and the quality, the artistic quality, it's very important for the artist that he gets at his disposal such a good instrument.
And the governments too, the German government must have a program of exchange in music skill with other countries.
Yes.
Do you think this is another avenue to explore?
This is something to explore then, not only in Germany but also in other countries, and there are also foundations, sometimes foundations, for example, which have been set up from banks, from insurance companies, from other big companies, or even private foundations, for example, and they support young talents, and I think there it's very good if some exchange can be done. What had been done already this year with the foundation in Switzerland and Khachaturian competition. So this foundation, they made a little exhibition also in a Khachaturian house, in the Khachaturian museum, and they displayed, I don't remember now, 8 or 9 violins from Guarneri to Stradivari, so the best instruments you can imagine. And then now the young musicians who participated in the competition had the possibility to play on such a brilliant instrument. So this is a first step, and this is definitely something which has to be developed and which can be developed. And all these kind of international relations and contacts are crucial and are very important for this. Future steps to be taken from Armenia is to support the infrastructure. So I think it's very important for the Armenian government to elaborate a real strategic plan. What does the country, what does the government expect from music? Music is a global language. What can be done? Can or should the government invest money because it's then also taxpayers' money, of course, so one has to be careful with it. So where can the government invest money, and in which directions, and what should be done first? So I think it's very important to develop, for example, within the next year or so, a really good and solid strategic plan what to do, or to become, to see what are the opportunities, for example, that Armenia will be listed also from IFPI. So IFPI, that's really the most powerful organization in the music business, which is the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry. And Armenia so far is not yet listed in IFPI, and they do every year a research. So this has to be it has to do also with the size of the country, with the size of what is available. Yes. So which companies, which labels are here? Like you have already a few big companies like Charm Holding, they're doing a lot, and you have some others. You have TM Production, or it had been reported to me, for example, that you have excellent recording studios. So this might be something interesting to exploit also. Because recording studios in, let's say, in the Western world are sometimes became extremely expensive, and so this could be a very interesting business model also for Armenia. I know that also Georgia did activities like this, to find out what are the possibilities with our recording studios, how many companies could we bring here in doing the recordings in the recording studio in Armenia, bringing the talent even over. And having the production here, and then it will be beneficial for everybody. So there are quite some different approaches one just has to think over.
And it will pay back?
Of course it will pay back.
Yes.
Because with every activity you do, something will come out, and sometimes even something comes out you didn't expect. So something completely different might come out. And this is the interesting thing, and I guess that this year, with Armenia's presence at MIDEM, already for Armenia, several contacts came out which wouldn't have been possible without this presence. And I heard yesterday in a conversation, someone from Armenia told me that finally the person got to meet another person from Armenia also, which she wouldn't have met here. And that's something we observe very often with Germans, with Americans, with French, with many other people as well. So yes, it's worthwhile going in depth, everything, and doing more, and just being positive about it. And I think Armenia can be very proud of its presence this year at MIDEM.
Thank you very much for hosting us, and thank you for your support and for everything that you are doing for Armenia. We greatly appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much also for the readiness, and it was a fantastic and absolutely unique experience we had, and I think it will remain a memorable year for all of us this year.
We're looking forward to seeing you again
next year then. Yes, we hope so. Yes, thank you very much. Merci.